Hey guys, I'm coming at you today with a Volcanic Star Seraph deck profile. I got this idea from a YouTube video I watched while just looking at Volcanic deck profiles because I was thinking of building the pure deck. But honestly, the pure deck, you draw and you draw with the trap reload, and then there's really no win condition. Your win condition is just scattershot and recycling. But like just blowing up their field and then poking with weak monsters, stuff like Thunder King, like Fossil Dyna. Like it's okay as a stun strategy, but there's no real like end game. You're just drawing, which I don't really like. So the Star Seraphs are a perfect like match for that type of deck. The Star Seraphs are also really good in Shadows, I feel. But in this deck, they're just really good because you draw through half your deck in like 3 turns. And unless your opponent beats you in like 2 turns, if they give you even a chance to set up, and you like get your shells, your like a +2 off your shells, you get your scatter shots going off of your Blaze Accelerator reload, then you pretty much got your Star Seraphs in hand. And once you get resolve the Star Seraph combo, it's unstoppable. So yeah, here's the deck profile. 3 Volcanic Rocket because you have to play him. He searches your pretty much the main card of the deck that made Volcanic's semi-competitive. Blaze Accelerator reload. You have to play 3. You even play Summoner Monk to search him out, and then you play 3 Scatter Shot because you have to play 3. 3 Shell because you have to play 3. All of this, no matter what build you're playing, you have to play all of those. 1 Royal Firestorm Guards. I know the pure build uses like 3, but that's just because their main win condition is just looping Scattershot over and over again. And Royal Firestorm Guards lets you recycle it back to deck and draw at the same time, draw into like traps like Lose a Turn. Oh yeah, also what kind of sucks about this build is I don't play Lose a Turn because I almost all the time have special summon monsters out. So Royal Firestorm Guards, I only play at 1 because it's like a good card. I don't wanna cut it to 0, but at the same time, drawing more than 1 is terrible, and like it's just not necessary because you don't need to use Scattershot really that much to be able to win. And then I play my super secret tech Volcanic Counter. For those of you that don't know what this does, most Volcanic decks don't play this, but I really like it. It's basically like terrible stats, 1300 defense, I guess you could set it. But basically you ditch it with a trap or Phoenix Wing Windblast, and in grave, it's kind of a weird card text, but let's see if I can get this to focus. Okay, I'll just read it. If they attack, or I guess if they burn you with a card, the very first damage you take after this is in grave, you have to banish it. It's mandatory. And then as an additional effect, if after you banished it, you have another fire monster in grave, which most of the time you do, they take damage equal to how much damage you took. So this helps me beat, it gives me a chance to beat Cliphort Towers once they get it out, because I can crash into it with something weak like Shell, or if I have this in grave, I can crash and then take 2900 and then make them take 2900. And then obviously my scatter shots can deal 1500 total, and then I can finish them off with like Heartland Draco or a Cowboy, depending on how much life points they have. I've actually won. It seems like it wouldn't happen that often, but it actually happens quite a bit. Maybe 1 out of every 3 games against Clips, I actually managed to win just because of this. And obviously this can be sent to the grave with Foolish or Reload. So yeah, that's it for the Volcanics. Then I play 3 Scepter, 3 Stick, and 3 Sovereignty. So basically, if you don't know what it does, look it up. The essence is that if you have Scepter and Sovereignty in hand, you can basically get a +4 or so, +5, depending on like which cards you go into. And then I play 1 Summoner Monk. I honestly think that maybe you should be playing 2, maybe I should be playing 2, but it's like a good card in theory, but every time I draw it, I most of the time I duality into it, and that just kind of sucks. Or I have a spell that I don't want to pitch. Well, sometimes I have spells like Upstart or Foolish that I might want to pitch, but I don't know, it's kind of not that good. It searches your shell, but you often have not shell, rocket. It searches rocket, which then searches reload, which you need. So it's basically another rocket. But the thing is, once you discard for a rocket, this card's basically dead. The best thing you can do is like make Steel Storm Roach, at least turn 1. If you could make Diamond turn 1, it would be a lot better. I'd play 2 for sure. If you could make Constellar Diamond off Ptolemaeus. But the problem with that is you can't enter main phase 2 turn 1 because you can't enter battle phase. So that kind of sucks. Also, another sneaky thing to do with this is if you have Sovereignty in hand with no Scepter, you can special summon a Scepter from deck and summon Sovereignty and then go off like that. And it even gives you an extra material. And then I play 1 Ryo because it's still a stun deck. So Ryo just is really good and it can win games by itself. And I don't play Mistake because I search too much, like Shell and Scepter. But Ryo is a one-sided Mistake and he can negate special summons. So yeah, and then for the spells I play 1 Raigeki. Even though I have Scattershot, I still play Raigeki. Triple Duality because you don't special summon that much, especially turn 1. Unless you have Monk, you won't be special summoning. And if you have Monk, you could ditch it. So it doesn't really hurt you all that much. And if you do have it, if you open multiples and you would be special summoning turn 2, that would pretty much mean you had the Seraphs. And if you have the Seraph combo, you won anyway, so it doesn't matter. And it really helps the consistency of the deck, for sure. Like, you need to play 3. I play 2 Planner. 3, I think I'm going to actually bump this up to 3. It does a lot for the deck. It helps you clean up, like, Fiendish Chains, floating Fiendish Chains, floating Calls. It helps you get rid of Vanities if you don't want it. And obviously it helps you get rid of Blaze Accelerator Reload so that you can then go Scattershot Raigeki effect. I'm probably going to cut this upstart for another Magic Planner. I think that's the way to go. Also, upstart, I don't like that it gives them life points. In this deck, it actually matters. So I think you could do that. Upstart was decent. Two Magic Planners was decent, but I found myself often wishing that I had another Magic Planner. So I think if you edit anything from this deck, play 3 Magic Planner and no upstarts. And then I played 1 Soul Charge, just because, I mean, with the Seraphs, it's like just great, but also it's just a good card in general. I don't know, Soul Charge. 1 MST. I was originally playing 3, but there's some decks which is just completely dead against, and I don't like that. And so I was only playing 1, and then my first match at locals. Well, I did end up topping locals. I got like top 6, but MST, actually I needed more because both games, well, I sat into them, but the first game I didn't have it even after drawing like a ton of cards from deck, and I just needed it. So yeah, I don't know. Depending on how your locals is, what decks you're playing, play it. And then 1 Foolish, I'm really conflicted about this card because, you know, it's the opposite of a win harder card. If you're off to a slow start, Foolish speeds that up for sure by setting a shell or something. But if you're already winning and you draw into this, it's pretty much completely dead. All you can do is like send a counter or something. But that's actually still pretty good because if you're winning, then you're winning, and it doesn't really matter getting 1 dead card. So yeah, and then that's it for the spells. And then I play 3 Reload, no explanation needed. Reason why the deck works. 3 Fiendish Chain. I play it just because it's a continuous trap and it's like decent this format. Effect negation is good. And I mean, you could play Breakthrough or something, but in this deck you play Magic Planner, so why would you do that? Also, another tech to consider is Zephyros. I was actually thinking about playing him, but I didn't have space. And because he can bounce your Fiendish Chains and stuff like that to reuse them. And if you have Zephyros in grave and you bounce a Fiendish that has already been used, it's a +2. So yeah. And then I played 1 Call. Feel free to bump it up to more. It's a great card, especially with Star Seraph Scepter, because if you open it in Star Seraph Scepter, you can just summon it, search your Sovereignty, let Scepter die somehow, just like let it float and then they'll beat over it eventually. And then you call the Haunted Scepter back and your combo goes like that instead of like normal summoning Scepter. That works. Also, it's good for just summoning Rocket in general. Well, no, you don't get a Search Off Rocket, my bad. But, I don't know, it's a good card. If you did get a Search Off Rocket, I would max it out at 3. But, like this, it's not amazing. It's good with Magic Planner, I guess. Vanity's Emptiness, because, I mean, it's amazing. 1 Compulse, 1 Warning, 1 Phoenix Wing Windblast. Phoenix, just because, you know, a lot of times you might want to discard twice in a turn, and Phoenix, like, you do have plenty of discard outlets, discard fodder, even with Blaze Accelerator Reload. And then onto the extra deck. I'm not really going to go over the staple monsters, but 1 Axiton, 101, Castel, Rhapsody, Ragna Zero, Dweller, Heartland Draco, really good. Cowboy is decent. Heartland Draco is really good. Roach, I go into him a lot. Roach and Dweller are pretty much your main floaters off of Summoner Monk. If you're going first turn, I usually go Roach. Emerald is probably one of the... Aside from like the Deltaros and Ouroboros, Emerald is like probably the best. Because in this deck you want to recycle stuff. And then I play 1 Ptolemaeus for the diamond combo. The guy who topped a regional, his name is Kevin Beers, shout out to him, with this deck. He had a Digvorzak, which is actually pretty sick, so that you can make this off of 3 and then make a Digvorzak. I would love to have that, but obviously Digvorzak's like $300, so that's not an option. And then 1 Ouroboros for the Seraphs, Deltaros for the Seraphs, and this for Deltaros and Ptolemaeus. Diamond just destroys so many decks. And then I played this for if you Soul Charge with Scatter Shots and Grave. I think I'd also play the level 1 Ghost Drake Dullahan, the one that halves their attack, because it's actually it would have come in handy like in 2 matches. So I think I might cut something for that. I'm not sure though. Then for the side, I played 1 Maxi, Nobleman won me a game against Shadowless because I used this against their set beast that they had to tribute for. They made like a really awkward play and I used Nobleman and they were just sad. I played the 2 MSTs, 3 Mind Crush, Fairy Wind, Full House, 2 Light Imp, Shadow Imp, this, and this. And that's the deck profile. Thanks for watching.